This installment of the Look Back series is about the general strike in 1877, when the social order in St. Louis was turned on its head, and for 5 days the workers ruled the streets. The panic of 1873 was another Wall Street crash, and even though the 1870s are full of boosterism and the Eads Bridge and Forest Park and all these wonderful things, it was a very, very hard time for the working classes. A lot of people were out of work. Companies kept cutting wages. When the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad cut wages for a third time in July 1877, a strike spread across the railroad line, which reached St. Louis and other railroads. And on July 22, workers in East St. Louis decided to join the strike and effectively block the Eads Bridge. On the next day, workers in St. Louis joined up, took over the Union Depot Railroad Station, and started holding mass rallies at Lucas Market, which was in what we now call Tucker Boulevard, and the open-air market is why Tucker is so wide. The workers and the strike committee, a small socialist group that tried to run it, but the strike was really too big even for them, managed to hold the streets, and the business leaders didn't know what to do. They were in a panic, so they finally organized a militia and were able, with the help of the police, to flush the strikers out of their headquarters, a building called Schuler's Market, a little north of where the Dome is now. But the strike really showed the stark divisions. Poor people lived in pretty horrible conditions in slums on the north and south ends of what we call downtown. There were places like Wildcat Chute, Clabber Alley, that were wretched. The rich were living west of town and of downtown, and Lafayette Park and places like that. Now, the Veiled Prophet Parade and Ball, which we all know as this big party, started the year after the general strike, and a lot of the business leaders who suppressed the strike helped form the Veiled Prophet organization. There are a lot of historians who believe that one of the primary purposes of the Veiled Prophet was to reassert the established social order, with the leaders up on the floats and the masses cheering on the sidelines. One other event in the 1870s showed the effort to straighten out the poor, I suppose. St. Louis adopted a social evil ordinance that for a few years in the 1870s attempted to control prostitution by licensing it. It didn't really work, and the city dropped it quickly, but it built something called the Social Evil Hospital. That really was its name, out on Arsenal by the state hospital just west of Kings Highway. And that is where prostitutes were treated for venereal disease. After the ordinance was dropped, it became the Female Hospital and was knocked over in 1914. The site is now Sublet Park.